And now this video here that I'm recording right after the other one is my, I guess, a review analysis, not really analysis, I guess we can call it a review of the Jake Paul, I think it's Paul versus Tyson or Paul versus Mike, something like that. The fight last night, it was anticlimactic to say the least. The one fight, they had one fight in the beginning, because I came in like halfway through that fight, I think. That's when the stream started working. That fight, I like the sportsmanship. I like when they were hugging and he was shaking his hand, kind of like, hey, thank you for that. I think this Brazilian guy, he's like an influencer from Brazil or something. I like that he has a heart shaped in his braids, and his braids are dyed blue. I like that little aspect about it. The Indian guy looked cool too. And I missed this segment. This one thing that he did, he's like humping him in the corner almost, it looks like. I don't know what the fuck he was doing. They showed like a highlight clip of like all the fights towards the end of the match, like all the highlights or all the things that happened throughout the event. And there was one such event where he's like kind of humping him, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, WTF? That's okay, what's going on there? I didn't see that part of the fight, so I don't know the context of it, but whatever. But yeah, that fight, I guess it was good. I didn't really pay attention to that one. The second one with the Aztec, the guy with the Aztec roots from San Antonio, and the other dude, Ramos. I forgot. I didn't get to see his introduction. I was doing something, but I did get to see the other guy, the San Antonio guy's introduction. And I like that he said with roots to the Aztec community, right? And he even comes out with like you guys dressed in Aztec like clothing type stuff, and his outfit's got like tribal, indigenous looking aesthetics. His colors were pink and something else, and the other guy was like, I think, red and black or something. And Ramos, it ended in a draw. It ended in a draw because both players gave it some good hits. Both players performed well, and I'm inclined to agree. I agree with that draw, from what I saw at least. I'm not a fighting expert. Maybe other people, I think maybe some people would say like, hey, Ramos was pretty good actually. I think the Aztec guy, he was like a heavyweight, I want to say, or he was a champion. He still kept his title, and the other dude, he didn't lose the match, which I guess is good for him too. That it ended in a draw, like it worked out in their favor. I like the sportsmanship. I like that when they're fighting sometimes before, but like definitely after, they'll hug it out, bro it out, like, hey, that was a good match, thank you, you really gave it your all. It's that's not the end of the guy, one of the gentlemen's, that you can tell, like, he shaved his head, but his hair's starting to grow back, and I like that. Like this guy's got a full head of hair, but I guess he wanted to go for a clean look. Maybe he said, fuck it, just shave the whole head off. But he'll like go and he'll talk to them and say, hey, how do you feel about this and that, blah blah blah, and the dude would tell him, a lot of times they'll say like, oh, I know so and so is a tough fighter, and I knew going in it was going to be a hard fight. It wasn't going to be easy. I knew it was going to be hard, but I persevered. I pushed through, and they pushed through on me most definitely, as you can see. And yeah, so that was a good fight. I enjoyed that one. I like their costumes, like the Aztec guy's design with his, and his tattoos look cool too. And then after that was the women's fight. Now these two girls, they fought before in Times Square, I think it was, or Madison Square Garden, something like that. And it was the first female main event that they had. And then 2002, right? It was the first female main event ever. That was fun. My aunt, I was texting my aunt at the time, and she said she hates women's boxing. She doesn't like it at all. And the women's, these two girls going at it, it definitely seemed like out of all the fights, this was the most sort of intense. I feel like I definitely feel that mojo there. It was like the most intense, kind of the most kind of feel like more brutal and vicious. That's not even a word. Brutal and I think maybe I just made up a word. I don't know. But yeah, it just felt like the most. To me, it felt like the most intense fight, the most like pain-inducing fight. Like, ouch. And what do you call what was I thinking in my head? I was thinking of something in my head. Yeah, I like the one girl, she's from Puerto Rico. She's from Carolina, Puerto Rico. And then the other girl's from Bray, Ireland. I like that little aspect. I like when they show their hometowns where they're fighting out of, and then based out of, and it'd be like their hometown, where they're from, where they grew up. Like, well, actually, we'll get to him in a minute here. Let's do this in like the order, right? So the one girl, the Puerto Rican girl, she had Amanda Serrano. That's what it was. She had the cut, the gash on the above the eye. Oof, that looked nasty. That looked real nasty. And towards the end of the fight, you can see it was quite open. They kept putting the gauze on it and like dabbing it up with the gauze. They put some of that, I guess it's like super glue, to help close the wound so the wound doesn't bleed out or doesn't gush blood, right? But oof, that was painful to look at. And I was thinking maybe they're gonna call off this fight because it seems like these girls, they're really going at it with each other. They're really hitting each other. They're really like boom, boom, boom. The Irish girl, and the guy told her, she kept like headbutting. She kept putting her headbutting her, putting her head on her. And you can see there's points where the referee kind of recommends her, like, hey, that's enough. Stop doing that. It kind of looks like he's telling her like that's enough. I like that we get introductions with the referees too. We get introductions from those guys. What was I gonna say? I was thinking of something. Oh, I was thinking of something in my head, and I can't quite. Yeah, I think at the end of the fights, I don't know if she lost. I think she did lose. I think the Irish girl won, and I don't think. I think technically Serrano didn't win anything or lost, something like that. I want to say. It was intense though. That fight was. I feel like that was the most intense fight out of all of them. That was the one that really came with like a lot of heat. It was that fight in particular, that one fight. And what was I gonna say? But it was fun to watch. I enjoyed it. It was like I said, these girls are really giving their all. I think Serrano, she did well, even though I think technically she lost, but like she did give it her all, and she did do well, and she did. And I like when the guy, he made this little speech and he said, we like her, but she has a big head. She has a really big head. And you saw when she fights other girls and she fights other people, she plays dirty, I like that this guy just came at it, full ham. He said, with all respect, she's a good fighter. But when you see how she fights, she definitely fights rough, and you can see it in other players, not just Amanda here. It's other girls, they're getting fucking pummeled by this bitch. And I like that he said, tonight we're going to go back. Tonight we're going to, I think to tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be in Carolina, Puerto Rico. I don't even know if he said Carolina, but he said Puerto Rico for sure. Like he said, tomorrow, like today, they're gonna be in Puerto Rico. So I'm guessing she's gonna be just chilling, just relaxing, recovering from that fucking beating. And the Irish girl, she gets to keep her titles and gets another belt to show off. She walked in of her stage and she showed off like all her belts. It was hilarious. And then now we get to the main event, which is Jake Paul and what's his name, Mike Tyson. Now with this one, you can really see his age, and I like the commentator even said it, right? He said it's like you can see his legs, like he's not as agile and moving as fast. In the fight, a lot of times they like kept hugging each other, or they kept grabbing each other, and the referee had to break them up again. There was I think it was like the third. It was only 8 rounds. I think there were 2 minutes. The rounds last for 2 minutes, and there were eight 2-minute rounds. I think it was on the third round that Mike seemed to have this boost of energy out of nowhere, and he came kind of hard at Tyson. What's his name? Not Tyson. Paul. He came sort of hard at Paul, but like it didn't last too long. And then for most of the fight, and I agree with my friend that he said this fight sucked. Like it just felt like Jake needs to fight somebody his own age. He needs to see how incredible, powerful he is. And they did show his highlights. Actually, it is pretty impressive. He has I think. He has more wins than losses for sure. I think he has 7 knockouts. Like, he's an impressive fighter. And then we see that in those clips. I didn't see the whole fights, obviously. These are pay-per-view. I wasn't even aware much that he was boxing until I saw this. But it's impressive. Wow, this guy really, he does fight. He does bring it all. But when he's fighting Mike Tyson, it just, for me, it felt like maybe a bit unfair or a bit, sure, Mike Tyson was this heavyweight champion guy, and he was, in his prime, he was amazing, he was good. But obviously, he's 58 years old now, he's almost 60, and, his age is, the age is definitely more than a number, and it definitely shows. In the fight, he looks tired. At the end of the fight, he looked tired, he looked beat, he looked like, I don't want to do this shit no more. I like his attitude when they were interviewing him. His words, his responses, they were just very, very simple, very... no kind of detail. There's no details needed. He just, I'll have a biting fixation. That's why I bite my glove. That's why I'm biting it. He asked, like, do you want to fight? And he's like, oh, I don't know, maybe. But I think he said, do you still think you still have some in you? And it's like, yeah, I think I do. It's got a little bit of fight in me. Maybe Mike, if he's gonna fight somebody, it's got to be somebody around his age again, right? It's got to be somebody. They brought two of the guys that beat him, Holyfield, something like that, and I think it's Holyfield actually. And there's some other dude. I think the other dude beat him once. Holyfield beat him 2 times. I could be wrong with this, so take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, they brought up these 2 dudes that did fight Mike, and they beat him. And the kind of thing, the sort of idea generated with that was like these are 2 dudes that are around his age, presumably. So, and like that's the guy that Mike should have been fighting, right? To bring back the heat, like a more equal footing, I feel. Because when you have a man like Jake Paul, I think he's 27, 29. I think it was 27. It's like, it's not fair, I guess, in some sense, like, like, and I guess some of the announcers, they mentioned this, like, this fight, like, because of the age difference, like, you can't expect it to be on par, like, all the other people that were fighting. You just can't expect it to be that way, because it's impossible. That it's too fast, that age difference with him. Like one of the announcers said, like, Mike Tyson, he could be his father. Like, that's how, the big age difference is that big. That could be his dad, for fucking crying out loud, that could be his father. So it just doesn't work in that same regard, does it? But yeah, this fight was fun to see, though. It was fun to see. It was a little lackluster at some point. Like, it kind of became apparent quickly that it wasn't going to amount to anything, is it? I don't think Mike ever truly gave him the iron punch, but Jake was fast with the reflexes. He was real quick. He was good, and he landed some on Mike. And there were times where he just shook him up a little bit, but he still stood his ground. So I guess that's a testament to him. Like, okay, so did Jake give his all to Mike? I don't know. Did anybody give their all? It definitely was a publicity stunt, right? And it definitely was for the money. I think people said it best when they were saying, hey, this guy, he got paid well, he got paid good. And so at the end, like, there's good vibes at the end, because, like, hey, you know what? We got paid, you got paid. We got our names out there. We got more publicity. We made some sort of historic moment. I like when they put Shaquille O'Neal and this other famous football guy, and they were talking about, we got to start doing, like, NFL versus basketball players, NBA versus NFL fights. And I said, oh my God, this is a precedent. This sort of sets a new precedent that now the influencers, people that otherwise want to be within the fighting sphere, we're going to start fighting people like, because, like Jake Paul, social media influencer guy versus his traditional kind of heavyweight. Because as far as I'm concerned, Mike Tyson's only ever, I think he does acting now, and so he like the other endeavors, but like his primary, like, he was a boxer, like, that was his main thing. And with Jake's main thing, it's an influencer, right? And so it's like, it sets a precedent now where we're gonna have maybe celebrity, famous people fighting other famous people, and perhaps it's some of it. Sometimes it's gets like, it's real and it's intense. It was like the hype. They kind of hyped it up with the talking smack. My dad said that. He said, they kind of have to, right? That's kind of the whole stick of it. It's like, it's a real fight. It's not just for its publicity. But I think towards the end, when they're like having that good banter of each other and they're giving each other praise, it kind of shows like yeah, but actually, it's kind of obvious. It's for publicity. This guy's 58 on 27. Obviously, the fight was gonna be like kind of lackluster, right? But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was nice nonetheless to see this, and it definitely was like a kind of historic moment in the making, was it? So yeah, that concludes my thoughts on the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight. Thank you for listening.